Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar today. Good evening. This is a pre-webinar presentation.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, good evening. The webinar will start shortly. We'll start in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, please introduce yourself in the chat window. Where are you from? What do you do? And what are you expecting from the session? Welcome everyone, welcome again. Thank you so much, Parul. Thank you so much, Sumati, for sharing. Requesting others to also share a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where are you from? What are you expecting from the session today? Thank you, Avinash. Thank you, Sarika. Thank you, Seema. Thank you so much, everyone. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Firki webinar of Nature Connect program with SowGood Foundation. Learning and exposure for teachers and educators has been the inspiration behind Firki webinars. You can go through different webinars, learning parts conducted on the portal. The link to the Firki portal will be pasted in the chat window shortly by our team members. We believe that your time is valuable and we want to acknowledge your presence in this session, and will also be providing our participants with a certificate of attendance. This is made available to the participants who attend the entire webinar. We will share more details on how to fill the feedback form and access the certificate towards the end of the webinar. You can join the Firki webinar on two platforms, Zoom and YouTube. YouTube live link will also be pasted shortly in the chat window. Now I'll take you through a few features on Zoom that you can use to have an engaging and productive session. This is the mic button. You can click this to keep yourself muted. Unmute only if the speaker asks you to. This is the video button. You can switch on and off the video. You can share your questions and thoughts in the chat window. I will be here to curate your questions and share them with the speaker. Participants who are joining us on YouTube can share your comments in the comment section. You can share your questions in the comment section, that will be shared with the speaker on Zoom session. After the webinar, we would encourage you to talk to people around you on what you have learned today. We remember best when we share our learnings with others. Practice learning from the webinar in your work. Watch the recording of the webinar and resources on the Firki portal or Firki app. Attend the next webinar. Sign up on www.firki.co to get updates. That brings us to the end of the pre-webinar presentation. Let us begin the webinar now. Hello, everyone. We are delighted to have you join us today for the Firki webinar titled Nature Connect program, creating environment consciousness through an introduction to farming and composting at school level. In collaboration with SowGood Foundation, I am your host, Tasneem. I work at Firki. I'll be your guide in this webinar to help you navigate through. Let us quickly take a look at what the National Education Policy and National Curriculum Framework highlights when it comes to environmental education. With climate change, increasing pollution and depleting natural resources, there will be a sizable shift in how we meet the world's energy, water, food, sanitation needs, resulting in the need for new skilled labor, particularly in biology, chemistry, physics, agriculture, climate science, and social science. This is given in NEP 2020 introduction. Certain subject skills and capacity should be learned by all students to become good, successful, innovative, adaptable, and productive human beings in today's rapidly changing world. These skills include environmental awareness, including water and resource conservation, sanitation, and hygiene. The National Curriculum Framework, NCF, states that it is clearly understood that the world is at a crisis point due to environmental concerns. It is equally clear that encouraging students to build an understanding of the environment, develop sensitivity towards environment, and find ways to demonstrate care about the environment is a critical responsibility of school education. Given this, I'll quickly take a moment to share the objectives of today's webinar. In this webinar, we will learn about the importance of developing environmental consciousness, recognize the benefits of incorporating environmental education into school curriculum, and explore some teaching practices and exercise that we can follow in our classrooms and school towards building environmental consciousness. We now come to the introduction of our beloved speaker today, Pragati Chaswal. Pragati combined her years of corporate branding experience along with early childhood education and integrated education with urban farming, community building, love for all sentient beings, quest for sustainable solutions, and created SowGood Foundation, a learning form for children by children. Here, ideas and seeds are sown together. Teachers and students are lifelong learners, collaborating and using communication and first-hand experiences to create a greener and kinder tomorrow. On the journey from seed to food, they imbibe all qualities of natural world like patience, drive, resilience, coexistence, intuition, teamwork, and gratitude. The quick norms for the session today. As we move to the webinar, I have a few requests for our participants as well. We request you to keep your cameras on for effective interaction. To avoid disturbance, we request you to keep your mics off unless the speaker asks you to unmute. Use the chat window to ask a question or raise your hand for speaking something or to ask something. Participate enthusiastically throughout the session. With that, I would like to welcome Pragati, and I would like to hand it over to you, Pragati, and I wish everyone to have a happy webinar experience today. Welcome, Pragati.
Thank you so much, Tasneem. That was a wonderful introduction. And thank you to all of you for joining us today on this nature journey. I'll just take a second to start my screen share. Okay, can you all see my screen? Tasneem, is my screen? Okay, great.
Yes, right. We can see it.
Yeah, great, awesome. So today we will, start the session with one very simple thought and a question. And the question is, think of a vegetable that you would like to be and why. So you can quickly think of one vegetable. If you were to be a vegetable, what vegetable would you like to be and why? Just take a minute, think about it, and write it in your chat box. Tasneem, I'm not able to view the chat box right now.
No problem. I can share the responses with you. Okay. Green vegetable, spinach.
Okay. So green vegetable, if you can tell me a name, like Sumati said, spinach, it's very healthy. Think of one quality of spinach. If you were to be a vegetable, for example, Deepika, if you were to be a vegetable, what vegetable would you be? So, potato? Okay, yeah. Why?
I think because it easily melts with all other vegetables.
Okay, so it's versatile.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Potato, cucumber. So if you want to be cucumber, what is that one quality of cucumber that you would like to have? Because they look beautiful and are healthy. Thank you so much, Seema. They keep us hydrated. Cucumber keep us hydrated, okay? Okay, let's take some more seconds and think and tell me, lady finger, beetroot, okay? Beetroot, the color is very nice, yes. It's full of water and healthy, okay? Lady finger, bitter gourd, okay? Interesting. All right. Anybody else wants to tell me one vegetable that you would want to be? Amla. Okay. That's very, very interesting. That's a very new fruit that I heard of in a seminar. Very interesting. Onion. Okay. Why onion? Okay. Medicinal value. Okay. Thank you, Asha. Okay. Great. So now that we have all started thinking about, one aspect of nature through the vegetables that we consume, let me just introduce what are we going to do in today's session. There are two very, very important, points that we are going to cover in today's session. One, we will be establishing our own nature connect with our own connection with nature. Why do we think it's extremely important to stay connected with nature, and how can we connect the children we work with nature? So these are the 2 points that we will be talking about in the next 60 to 70 minutes. Okay. I think somebody's, okay, great. Okay. Now let me again ask you one question. Tell me, do we all feel that it's extremely important for us to, stay connected with nature? What do you think? Tasneem is going to share a poll. Just write your answers. What do you think? Is it important for all of us to stay connected with nature? All right.
The
Awesome.
poll results are here and everybody's agreeing that it is important.
Yes.
And Seema is sharing in the chat box that it's important because nature is the need of our survival. Above all, it is a great teacher to teach values.
Thank you so much. You have actually helped me by saying this. My next question is about that. All of us, 100%, feel that it's extremely important for all of us to stay connected with nature. Now take a few seconds and tell me, why do we feel nature connect is important? You can write it in the chat box and I can see it. Because see, the objective of today's workshop, today's session, is to really understand the need, the importance of staying connected with nature And where are the gaps? Where are we missing the nature connect? So if we start from the beginning, first of all, our own feeling, our own understanding, do we feel that staying connected with nature is important? All of us feel it is important. Let's also reflect on why is it important to stay connected with nature. Tasneem has just shared a link in the chat box. Can we take a minute and just, write our responses in that link? It will help us collate and take it forward from here.
We're getting a lot of responses. People are saying that we are also a component of nature. Our survival depends on it. We are made up of the 5 elements, which again is nature. These are some of the responses that are coming in.
Wow, that's really beautiful. I think to hear something like that we are nature. Nature is not anything else. We are part of nature. That's fantastic. So taking from here, I would like to share how my Nature Connect started. So my professional background, I come from advertising background. I worked in advertising for close to 8-9 years. And after that, when in about 2014-15, when my son was growing up, I decided to take sabbatical and spend time with my son. Around this time is when I noticed, the eating habits of my son and how it was, really difficult for him to eat vegetables. Anything that would be served, he would just say, no, I don't want to eat it. I would rather eat, pizza or chips, but say no to spinach. All of us in the chat box wrote that, if we were to be a vegetable, a lot of us said we would like to be tomato. We would like to be spinach. But to a child, you give him spinach, he would, make faces and probably not eat. And I experienced the same thing. Even a small piece of tomato in a dish was taken out saying, I don't want to eat it. I tried various methods of, giving vegetables to my son, but he would just refuse. Around this time, I thought, let me create an experience wherein we grow plants. And this, maybe he will experience the joy of growing plants and maybe, start connecting with his food, the food that he's refusing. With that thought in mind, I picked up any material that was available in the house, any recyclable material like a container, a biscuit box, a curd box, and used, soil and compost to grow plants along with my son. So the experience that was created was such that we will take soil, we'll take compost, and any seed that was in the kitchen, we would use that to grow plants on the terrace. We did not go to a nursery or anything. That experience was created on the terrace inside the house, which was very, very accessible to all of us. Now, while I was doing that along with my son, there were a few learnings that I saw, which influenced me even more to do this practice with my son. One of the learnings that I saw was the life that we are leading. All of us are leading a very fast-paced urban lifestyle wherein, nobody has the time to really create a menu or think about seasonal food. If, for example, in Delhi, it's summer season, and in the market, the vegetable that is available is something that is actually grown in winter. For example, cauliflower. Now, cauliflower is available throughout the year. And we don't think twice before eating cauliflower in summer. And that's the kind of, because there is no experience, there is no there is lack of understanding there. That was one learning that I had through this experience. The other learning, which is again based on this, is the disconnect that we see in our children through food. And because of which the gap between the child and nature, or human and nature, is increasing by the day. Based on that, the experiences that we created for the child was, can the child go to the space, the mini space that we have created, and start watering his plants on a regular basis on his own. So instead of having a gardener come and water the plants, the child was watering the plants. He would go and observe his plants on a regular basis, which would lead to the child is going out, experiencing how is the weather today. Is it hot? Is it breezy? Am I sweating? How am I feeling? That kind of feeling started coming in. When the produce was there, he would go to harvest the produce. Which led to, because he's growing, he's taking care of the plant, he's harvesting it, which led to eating that vegetable that he has grown on his own. And not just that, he would make the entire family sit together and eat the food that he has grown with that love. And in addition to all of this, the other thing that the child was experiencing was a lot of love and joy. The other experiences that we created for the child was also, all his drawings, coloring, etc. we would do in this space that was created. Now, the feeling that he was getting is, I have created this space. I want to nurture it. I want to take care of it. When you start getting this feeling of, this is mine, I want to protect it, I don't want to spoil it, is when you start loving it. And this feeling, if we can have in children for nature, to go back and start loving nature, we are able to create a lot of experiences. So if I have created this, I am feeling the sense of ownership. If I want to nurture it, I'm feeling responsible towards it. I want to take care of it. I want to protect it. So in this period of 6 to 8 months, the entire feeling that we saw in my son, he's 16 now, and the feeling that he has is, even if we order food in and there is some sort of plastic that comes in, he's the one who starts pointing out, why have we ordered something that brings in so much plastic? So the experience has stayed with him even today. Now, this feeling that I saw my child going through, this experience that was created for him, was so beautiful and impactful that not just him, the entire family changed, family's behavior towards nature, towards environment started shifting. We started becoming more conscious of our nature, our environment. So that's when the feeling came that, why just one child? This feeling should be shared with more children, and share the love of, the joy of nurturing, being close to nature with all children. And that's where the seed of SowGood was sown. In 2017, so we started SowGood from a very small farm, where as an after-school activity area, where children would come, and everything was done along with children. It was made a very experiential space where children would understand the importance of healthy soil. They understand seasonality, what can be sown when, they would put the seeds in the soil, and that entire experience from sowing seeds to taking care of the plant and then harvesting was all experienced as a journey by children. The vision, as we say, is to grow a more nature aware generation. So earlier we all talked about, the experiences. What are the feelings that we have? Why do we want to nurture? Why do we feel nature connect is essential? Tasneem, do you have that? Should I stop sharing?
Yes, I will share, Pradeep.
So I'll stop sharing now.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So survival because our planet is dying, fresh oxygen. We are also part of nature. Lovely responses over here.
Yeah.
For peace, harmony, survival.
Nature gives us life. That's such a beautiful answer. It's a very beautiful thing. Nature fulfills all our needs. Absolutely. Our survival depends on nature because our planet is dying. Fresh oxygen. To feel calm and refreshed. Wow. We are part of nature. We are because of nature. Nature is very important. Okay. With stress, yes. Stress universally also, and research also says that, soil has a component that actually reduces our stress. These are some of the most, such beautiful expressions of why nature is extremely essential. And these were the learnings that I also had once I started growing plants at home with my son. There was a need why I started doing it. And what I also realized after growing vegetables is that, our first connect as human with nature is through the food that we are eating. Food, any vegetable or anything that we eat comes from plants. And in today's life, in our urban setting, the food which is grown is actually moving far away from us. We are somewhere else, and the food that is grown is really far away from us. We don't know where our food is going. We don't know who is growing it. We don't know how much time does it take to grow. Even one tomato, which we all said that we would like to be tomato or cucumber, but we don't know how much effort does it take to grow a tomato. And like somebody said, our planet is dying. Yes, it is, and it is because of our behavior, our fast-paced lifestyle. We use a lot of plastic. In 15-20 years back, where was the use of so much plastic? Even if we had to buy food from outside, from a restaurant, I remember my grandmother used to take her own steel container to get something from outside instead of bringing it from plastic. But slowly that connect with nature, that need to protect it, that need to, be in nature is somehow reducing. Now I'll start the screen share again. Okay. So we saw why we all feel it is important for us to stay connected with nature for multiple reasons. But at the same lot of gap, which we all see in our education system. There were policies, there were talk about integrating nature education, environment consciousness in a child's, education, in his schooling. But where is that happening? When a child goes to school, does he actually experience nature in his school? Does he get time to go out in nature and feel it, experience it, do something for it? Do something for it that gives him the feeling that, I am protecting it. I am for nature and nature is for me. When a child goes to school today, he knows that he can be a dancer if he wants to be, or she, or maybe become a sports person, or go to a good college. But nobody talks about being an environmentalist or doing something for environment or doing something for nature. Why do we not hear anything about it? Why don't kids come back and say that, Mama, when I grow up, I want to plant 10,000 plants or trees. We don't hear any of it because we don't talk about all of it. Children don't experience it. There are so many studies, so many researchers, scientists have said, if we want children to think about environment, nature, they have to experience it, not just by reading about plant life cycle in your book. How can you learn about plant life cycle just by looking at your textbook and not actually seeing a plant grow? A plant, there are games, there are video games today that, if you play that overnight, your plants will grow. It doesn't happen. And there are so many studies. In fact, in 2000, if you look at the screen, it says that in December 2003, the Supreme Court made it mandatory for schools to include environment education in all grades. But is that really happening? If it is, to what extent is that happening? So that's one of the major gaps that we see in schools, in our education system today. How are we doing our bit? How is SowGood doing its bit? So we see the gap, and how we are trying to bridge it is that we have created a framework, a curriculum, which is based on a farm, which is based on, creating an open classroom learning inside the school premises. We are not taking the child outside the school. We are taking the environment experience, the nature experience to the child, to the school, where when they enter the school, they see a farm, they see a space which is managed by them, which is joyfully taken care of them by them. They sow seeds here. So that is that is the experience that we have created in the form of a curriculum. It's a 3-year engagement program, which is based on the principles of Vichar, Achar, and Prachar, which means in the first year, we give that thought that, the love, the joy of being with nature. Second year, it comes into their behavior. Once you do something for a period of time, it comes in your behavior. If you get into a habit of watering morning, it will become part of your life. And then third year, which we call Prachar, is propagating it, taking it forward. Once it's in my behavior, I feel it. I spread the joy. I share it with others. So this program, this 3-year program, integrates farming and composting, this experience, with the existing learning method. What do I mean by that? If you see the visual, the child is actually creating a grid to sow seeds. But this grid is one, we also call it 1 square foot garden, in which, in that each square foot, the child will sow seeds, one seed per square foot. But at the same time, they're also learning tables. They're also learning multiple other things. So in this, we integrate 3 things: academics, values, and life skills. How do we do that? So before I move forward, I would request all of you to make these 3 columns in a notebook using a pencil. One column would be academics, then skills, and then values. Just make this column because moving forward, we'll be seeing some videos. And in these videos, you will see live examples of these 3 skills being done by children in the school on the farm. So when you're watching the video, just see through the video, what are those pointers? What are those experiences that you can take to your classroom? So I'll go forward, I'll switch on the video and just keep making notes of these things.
एक लाइन में 30, 2 लाइन में 60 हुआ, तो 4 लाइन में वैसे जोड़ा.
I think this.
Okay, so that was the first video.
भीमनगरी स्टाफ का और बच्चों का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो बहुत ज्यादा अच्छा रहा. सीजन के साथ साथ कौन सी क्रॉप उगती है बच्चे अब तक पढ़ते आए थे, लेकिन अब जब बच्चे प्रैक्टिकल कर रहे हैं तो प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज जो होती है वो बच्चे के साथ हमेशा चलती है. मैंने सुना, मैं भूल गया, मैंने किया, मुझे याद रहा. सिलेबस में भी काफी हेल्प मिलते हैं. बेसिकली जैसे मैथ, अगर आप गार्डनिंग कर रहे हो, आप बीज बो रहे हो, तो इस तरीके से बीज बोए जाते हैं. उसमें शेप्स आ जाती हैं, उसमें मल्टीप्लिकेशन आ जाती है. अगर एक रो में आपने 3-3 करके बीज बोए तो 4 रो में कितने बीज होंगे.
Okay, I hope we are all making some notes of the pointers.
भीमनगरी स्टाफ का बच्चों का जो एक्सपीरियंस है वो
गीले कूड़े से हमारी खाद बनती है और गीले कूड़े को और सूखे पत्ते को मिला के खाद बन जाती है. तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि अगर हमारे पास एक बड़ी सी जगह हो तो हम सब मिलके उसमें खाद बना सके और खाद बन के फसल उगाए तो वो हमारे घर में काम भी आ सकती है और हम खाएंगे और बहुत मजा आएगा क्योंकि हमने फसल उगाई थी और फसल जो हमने उगाई थी वही हम खाए.
I've seen that kids are fighting and like there's too much of violence in the way they interact with each other, and even them coming in a line did not work that much because they used to push and pull each other. To where now after this program they understand the space is very precious and there's something called a personal bubble. It's about a personal space that everybody has and they have to protect it by just being themselves. From the time that they started farming, they understand if anything has to grow. One, they need to show patience. They need to protect it. They cannot let anything come and spoil it. And to where now that they're making shapes to, cordon off the area that they want to make it their own. It has brought in a lot of sense of responsibility, a sense of belonging in a team, the cooperation that they show with each other, the way they protect what is so important for them in a very peaceful way is something that I really have noticed after them being part of SowGood.
पहली चीज भी बहुत गुस्सा आती है मगर अपने यहाँ सारी गुस्से खुदाई में निकाल देती है. गुस्से जब आती है ना तो मैं यहाँ पे आके खुश हो जाती हूँ. फिर यहाँ के हरियाली देख के अच्छा लगने लगता है. फिर मुझे गुस्सा आते ही नहीं.
SowGood के आने के बाद जो पर्सनैलिटी करते हैं वो सबसे बड़ा बिहेवियरल चेंज. लुक फॉरवर्ड, आप यकीन करेंगे कि जो वेडनेसडे की हमारी क्लास होती है उस दिन की हाजिरी तीसरी चौथी की पिछले सालों के मुताबिक परसेंटेज जो है बढ़ गई. तो बच्चे SowGood में आ जाना है तो इससे ज्यादा आने की कोशिश करते हैं. अभी तो की बात ही देखने का जाए तो इससे परिवर्तन जो चल पड़ा है उससे हम कह सकते हैं कि SowGood ये परिवर्तन लाने में सक्सेसफुल हुआ है. They are the change maker. They are changing the attitude, the behavior of the children, as well as behavior of the teachers. जो teachers उस class की हैं, वो लोग भी they are looking forward to it.
कि SowGood ने आज आना है, मॉर्निंग में रोज इंक्वायरी, हमेशा वेडनेसडे SowGood आज आएंगे। तो उससे क्या हो रहा है कि बच्चे टीचर्स के साथ जुड़ रहे हैं, बच्चे बच्चे के साथ जुड़ रहा है, बच्चा जमीन से जुड़ रहा है, और जो ये एक साइकिल है हमारे सबको जोड़ने की, तो शायद हम इसमें सक्सेस, इट्स जस्ट अ बिगिनिंग ऑफ दैट।
All right. Shall I just give me 2 minutes? Okay. So before we move on to our next experience, if we all want to share the notes that we made. So what are the experiences that we felt could come under academics? You can write in the chat box.
Feel free to come off mute also and share.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which experiences from the video is actually connected with academics, and when did you see academics coming live? We have Varsha's hand raised. Go ahead, Varsha.
Yeah, so in one of the videos, I mean, in the video, one of the school leaders, she said that, when they are doing these activities like sowing seeds, and when they do it in a particular manner, so how it can be connected to multiplication. Sowing these many number of seeds in these many number of rows makes it how much. So that, and then the different shapes also, how can we relate to the shapes that we see in the classrooms to the shapes that we see in nature. So yeah, so how they were connecting nature to the lessons that they teach in classrooms. I could find these 2 examples of that.
Interesting. So both multiplication shapes come as in the academics column.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Varsha. Anybody else who wants to share?
Ma'am, I want to share that from this video, we have seen that social emotional well-being of the students also.
Yes.
Because they were feeling very happy. One student has shared that when I feel sad, I become very happy when I come to school because I need to go to that area जहाँ पे हम काम करते हैं और मुझे अच्छा लगता है, मुझे happiness मिलती है. So we can relate that the happiness can be inculcated with these kind of activities.
Yes, in fact, sometime back somebody was saying that the stress that the calm, the peace that they feel in nature is something that is absolutely true, and we have seen children also showing signs of being calm. And when we go to when we go to school, we do see stress in schools, in children of different age group also. So you're absolutely right. This space, which is green, which is nurtured by them, provides them that peace and calm. Okay, thank you. Any other observations?
We have few responses on the chat box saying making patterns, collaboration, mixing soil.
Good evening, ma'am. I would just like to add one more point to the same thing we were discussing just now. One of the students also did mention about the anger issue. So yes, when we talk about social emotional well-being of a child, we do see that in the class, we do have some students where they have a lot of anger issues. So yes, we can also calm down the students, their anger issues, their emotional well-being. So all these things can also be handled this way. That was one of a very good example.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. In fact, in one of the videos, you must have also seen children were passing bricks to each other. So instead of only one child taking it and keeping it in a corner, they were passing it around. And when you are actually, picking up something, passing it around to make or create a space, that also brings that feeling of confidence and joy, which takes care of anger, which takes care of anxiety, which we see a lot in children these days. Yes, Tasneem.
So for me, the connection is not only with nature, but children and teachers could connect with each other when they were out there, which is very important. They were carefree, they were enjoying what they were doing. So that's something that is really valuable.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tasneem. That's one very big component of the program. Now, creating a kitchen garden or a farm inside the school is not difficult. It can be done. But the experience that we are creating, wherein teacher is using this space as creating that, giving that experiential learning to the child, they are together learning that, we are in September right now. Winter season is coming. What is it that we can grow in this season? So it's not just the child doing. The teacher is equally engaged with the child doing it. They are experiencing what is going to happen. Whatever the teacher is doing in the classroom, she's bringing it outside, be it numbers, be it taking out perimeter, be it skip counting. Everything she is taking outside in the farm that they have created. And the biggest benefit is they are outdoors. They're in nature. They are experiencing each and every component of nature. For example, this year, it rained a lot. It rained at the time when it should not have rained, which spoiled all our crops. In most of our schools, we did not get enough produce. Now, that was a very important topic for the teachers to discuss. Last year, we got, because we also document every seed that was sown and the harvest that we get. So children were able to compare it with last year. That last year, if we got, for example, 80 kilo of spinach throughout the year, this year we got 20 kilos because of the rain. Now, the next question is, why did it rain at this time? So the child is understanding climate change. Child is experiencing nature. He or she is learning to protect, question every change in nature. If the child is doing it, experiencing it along with everything that he or she is learning in the classroom with the same teacher, he feels that this is part of life. This is my responsibility to protect nature. And hence, when he grows up, when she grows up and is in the position to make any kind of decision, they will keep environment, nature benefit in their mind and take decisions which are in harmony with nature and not isolated. So that is one big benefit of connected with nature, which is the need of today, can be done. What we really need to do is, if we can demarcate that small space inside our space and create a space where, fruits, vegetables can be grown. We do less of fruits and more of seasonal vegetables because it gives us constant experience. It gives us experience of seasonality. Which season is going to come next? What is it that we are going to grow? If we can't grow it in this season, which means I should not even eat it. Because if soil cannot grow it, my body cannot accept it. Experiences that a teacher can share or, experience along with children. There is another very simple yet very, very interesting experience that we can even today share it with our children. There is this colleague, I would say now, Shaima. I'll just share her experience or her journey. Shaima used to go to Sarvodaya Kanya Vidyalaya in Delhi, and she joined SowGood when she was in grade 9. She came to SowGood as what we call little farmers. She came to learn about growing your own food, about understanding what really it means to, grow crop when she was in grade 9. So for a period of 4 years, she learned. And now she is in second year of college and she is teaching other students now. She is a SowGood facilitator and she goes to teach other students in schools, in our government schools and private schools. So there is an experience that she'll share with all of us. This experience is called microgreens, and she'll also share material that we can, use to make microgreens with our students. It's a simple yet a great learning experience, which not just teaches us about plant life cycle, etc., but also tells us how we can reuse something that we would have thrown otherwise. So let's spend the next 10 minutes experiencing this along with Shaima. Again, when she's giving this demonstration and talking to you, what I would really request is if we can again make a note of academics, skills, and values or mindset that we can do along with our children if we decide to do microgreens with them. And this is an experience, as I said earlier also, which you can do even tomorrow with your students. That can be a great beginning to your green classroom. So I'm handing it over to Shaima. She'll take you through the entire experience of creating this green space. Shaima, should I keep it reaching? Yeah.
Hi everyone, I am Shaima. Today I will take you through the process of how to make microgreens. Do you know, like, microgreens is super simple. You can do it at home. You can teach your kids how to make microgreens. So to make microgreens, we mainly need 4 ingredients. The first thing that I'm using today is a container, and it can be any kind of container. But I'm reusing plastic container, which was a box full of ice cream. So there is no more ice cream, but you can use it for growing microgreens. And then second ingredient is required some soil and some compost. Like if you don't have compost, you can also try using cocoa peat. And the third thing is which is seeds, which is easily available in our kitchens. Today I'm having and fenugreek. So because like winter is coming and it's also easily you can find in your kitchen. To make microgreens, you first need to take a container, fill it half with soil. So I will just show you this. Here is the soil and this is the compost. So I will, if you, okay. If somebody has a question, you can like ask me, or shall I continue? Okay.
You can continue, Shaima.
Okay. This is the container. I will fill it half with the soil first. And then I will take some compost top of it. And then what we need to do is mix compost and soil all together. You can mix. Take a little bit of more compost, fill it half, and then you can also separate small, this tiny stones if it's there. You can also use garden soil if you have. And then I will be taking mustard seed today for growing microgreens. While you're taking seed, make sure that you're not putting all seed together. You just take some and then sprinkle it all top of it, so that seeds are not on top of each other, or else they will start fighting if they are sprouting. So it's better we sprinkle it. And it's done. So this was the second step. The third step is now we need to cover the seeds with adding some more soil on top of it. Mix it with compost. You can also use coco peat. And then I have this soil and compost mixed together. I will be sprinkling it top of it. Now you need to make sure that 1 inch of your container should be empty, so that you can add water after it. And very important step, when you are making microgreens, don't tap soil, or else there won't be a space for air and your seeds might not germinate properly. So it's better you just sprinkle it with gently and leave it. So this is done. Yeah, there is still 1 inch of space left for aeration, for the process of aeration. Now what I will be doing, take a plastic bottle, make a hole on top of it, and sprinkle some amount of water. It should be like you're not pouring all water together, but just sprinkle it. And then leave it directly in the sunlight next day. Or if you're making it this morning, you can also keep it in sunlight, but you don't need to water twice or thrice a day. Just give it to water once and then check the state of your soil. If it is too wet, you don't need to add water again. You can leave it for 1 or 2 days and then you can recheck it on third day. It will take around 1 week and you will start seeing there are small seeds which are like sprouting. You will see there are tiny 2 leaves coming. So what is microgreen? It is when you will see there are 2 leaves, tiny, which is called 2 leaves. So after 1 week or in 14 days, it will get ready, and it's called vegetable greens, not a you don't need to leave it for a longer period of time, or else the nutrition level won't be the same. So we harvest microgreens when it has only 2 leaves, and then you just simply harvest it and eat it. So it contains a huge amount of nutrition. We don't leave it for a longer period of time. So yeah, this is called microgreens, and it's super simple. You can repeat this with your children, and you can make it every day and eat it with salad or a sandwich. Or you can also eat it in a vegetable, like depends on you how you're eating. But yeah, thank you so much. It contains so much of nutrition. You should try making it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Shaima. There is a small question for you in the chat box. What? Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, what is coco peat? You can explain it for our users. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so what is coco peat? Coco peat is basically, we all eat coconuts. So coco peat is a powder which is made out of coconut shell. Basically, we are crushing the shell of coconut, and it is
the brown coconut, the husk which is there on brown coconut, it's taken and crushed. So the hair is crushed, not the entire shell. Yeah, so that is called coco peat. There are a lot of times when soil is not available, or compost, that's what you were saying, or compost is not available. In those cases, we use coco peat. So the brown part, the hair of a brown coconut is crushed and is, yes, coconut husk. That's coco. So it's very easily available in market that can be used. But with students, we usually try to use garden soil, and the experience that we do through this is, one, it's a small space that you are creating. So couple of points, I mean, maybe we can all start hearing from the audience what are the things that you observe that can be done through this experience, which is simple to do, but it has multiple, benefits. So if we have to use this experience with our children, what are the various components that we think we can integrate or it can offer? Shana, can you please keep this under the
So if we want to use the same experience in our classrooms with our students, what are some components that we can integrate? Like how can we integrate academics, values, and skills? You can come off mute and share. You can also share on the chat box.
Thanks, Shalini. I'll tell you about the background in a bit. The story of the background is also extremely interesting. And the reason why I'm sitting here is also because I would like to share with you the story of the background. And this is also something that we can take for our children. So in a bit, but I would like to really hear from all of us through this simple experience, which can be done even tomorrow in the classroom. What do we feel we can take to the child? Okay, any answers? Anybody would like to share?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm saying that, Tasneem, you want to say?
Yes, so we just saw Shaima demonstrate how to cultivate microgreens. If we have to take the experience back to our own classrooms and do it along with our children, what are some components that we can integrate while doing this activity? How can we integrate academics, or how can we integrate values, and how can we integrate skills? You can share it on the chat box, and you can also come off mute and share. I think someone came off mute to share. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was thinking one thing that definitely comes to mind is awareness, because I teach elementary kids. So I think, the moment you say that, okay, we put seeds in the soil and that is what turns into plant, I'm sure for most of them, it'll be a new thing. They might not be aware that how a seed germinates into a sapling, and, so the basic awareness of the ingredients or the entire process itself. And how again, other values that I can think of is definitely patience. Yeah, because the moment they do it, they're also excited. Okay, the very next day, and they come and say, okay, let me see ki wo aaya hai ki nahi aaya hai. So
Exactly, yes.
that very important thing of patience. And one thing which Saima, I think her name is,
Shaima.
yeah, which she showed that you need to spread the seeds and don't, put them in chunks one over the other. So that also shows us that, in the previous video also, they were talking about personal space, how it's important that personal bubble, or important to maintain that healthy distance with each other, both physically and mentally. So I think that's because that's something which promotes growth. That is an important lesson which can be picked from this activity.
Absolutely. Those were absolutely very, very valid points. And these are the points that can be taken to any experience which we are creating for our child. And, it's nature-led, because everything in nature teaches you patience. There is another point which is in the chat, the sheer sense of independence that sowing your own seed and working with soil can bring to the child is extremely valuable. Absolutely. Yes, so there are some other extremely important points that we can take to our children through this simple experience, which is also, for a plant to grow. What is it that a plant needs? One of the things that the plant needs is space. So where do you get the space from? So you need space, you need soil, you need seeds. So making a list of resources that you need. Then also, maybe what we also do with our children whenever we do this experience is create a tracker, which means, so day one, what did you see? What did you feel? So the child is learning to observe every minute detail that he sees. And at the same time, they're also experiencing or reflecting on what are they. So if I see, the day I see that first sprout, what is the feeling? And through this, we are also making a child say that, or experience or reflect on what is the joy, what is it that they are feeling, and also responsibility. I have to water it every day. Did I water it today or not? And through this, then the child or the group of children can go on and take more responsibilities. Now that we have created our own small garden. And again, if you see in the experience that I had created for my child at home, there was a lot of I that I was talking. The reason there was a lot of I was that if I love something, and one example that we share with everybody is that, in today's time, we all are really attached to our own cell phones. If something happens to my phone or there is a scratch on my phone, I feel really bad. I feel really hurt. But if something happens to somebody else's phone, maybe I'll not feel that much, pain and hurt. So if all of us start loving nature and we start feeling that this is my nature, I love it. If there is a little bit of hurt, pain, something that happens to environment, to nature, I will feel good. I create that feeling of I belong to nature and nature belongs to me. That's another feeling that we are trying to, create in our children today. There's another experience that somebody has shared, which is last week, grade 7 and 6 students were engaged in solid waste management methods like reuse. Yes, absolutely. They made planting pot from unwanted plastic bottles. So this is actually another very important experience or, learning that we shared with our third year intervention children. We start with composting your green waste. Again, the approach always is near to far. The vegetable or the fruit that I am eating, can I be conscious that this vegetable peel can actually be converted into compost? Whereas the, 60% of the landfill that we all must have seen around us somewhere, 60% of that landfill is actually green waste. It's not plastic. It's green waste because we are not conscious of segregating our waste. We dump everything together. Even if we are segregating it, where is that green waste going? So hence the first thing along with farming, what we introduce to our children is to be responsible towards my own green waste. And hence we create a composting unit inside the school. And we tell each child that the green waste that we are generating should go into the compost bin. So the first step is green waste. My green waste should be composted and the compost should go into the plants that I am. Second, which is the other important thing, and I'll also share with you another experience that we are sharing this year with our third year intervention students. So the second thing is all my waste, which cannot be composted, which cannot decompose, should be segregated and recycled. Now, again, I'll do one small exercise. In today, from morning till evening, what are those 3 non-degradable items we have used since morning? Any 3 items that I have used since morning, which cannot degrade, which cannot be degraded, and I have thrown it in the dustbin. Yes, plastic bag is one thing which all of us are using. Plastic bag. Tell me one more thing. Start your thinking from the beginning, morning. Plastic glass, rubber, yes. Milk packet, absolutely. Coffee pack. Vegetable plastic bag. Glass, yes. Plastic wrapper. Oh my God, wrappers are another extremely painful, point, which currently has aluminium foil, yes. Now, we work with both government and private schools. In government school, children, at least primary school children, they don't bring food from home because food is served in the schools. But in private schools, children bring food from home. And one of the biggest challenges, they all bring food in plastic, in aluminium foil. Now, aluminium foil is something that's not good for you. It's not good for environment. Still, we are bringing it. It's so bad for environment, plastic bottle, plastic, bag, that the first plastic that was ever made has also not degraded. It's still lying somewhere in the planet and destroying soil. Now, there are so many movements called Save Soil movement. But at a personal level, these are the things, medicines come from in aluminium foil. Yes, now these are the things that we cannot avoid. But taking food in aluminium can simply be avoided. So the first thing that we do with our children is everything that you have written, we do this exercise with our children as well. Let's make a list of all the things that I have thrown since morning. And now let's see, out of these, what are those items that can be easily replaced? Now let's do this exercise. What out of these can be easily replaced? Can aluminium foil be replaced? A simple yes or no. Can aluminium foil be replaced? Yes, I can see a lot of yeses and nods coming. Yes, it can be replaced. Can a plastic bag be replaced? Yes, absolutely. A plastic bag can be replaced. So the next exercise that we do with our children is bring an old t-shirt that you might have thrown and we make a bag using that t-shirt. Now imagine a child making a bag using his t-shirt. Is so precious to him that he wants to carry it wherever he goes. And not just that, he's also teaching others to make a bag. So I am learning, I'm teaching others. Now also somebody said wrapping. So the theme of our third year integration with students is sustainable celebrations. All our festivals, out of waste. A lot of things that after the end of the celebration go into the landfill or go into our rivers. How can we make our celebrations more eco-conscious, more sustainable? Those are the other experiences that we are sharing with our children, and end result, objective of each of that experience is how can I protect nature? If I'm using a cloth bag, like Brinda has written in the chat box, what am I doing? I'm not using plastic bag. I'm protecting soil. I am protecting soil by not throwing a plastic bag. Those are some of the experiences that we are currently, sharing with our children. Yes, somebody said avoid use of cellulose. That's another commodity. That's another product that we are using in our daily lives so often. And we are not conscious of it. So through this experiential program, this 3-year integrated program, or these workshops that we create with children, our objective is one very simple. How can we make our children more nature aware, more nature conscious? And through this nature consciousness, 3 things that we all just experienced: academics, skills, and values or mindset can be so seamlessly integrated. And this can be done in our everyday classrooms. If you and I, which are educators, who are educators and who work with children on a daily basis, if we are conscious and we learn some of these practices, taking it to our children can actually become very seamless and become a part of their daily routine. And once it becomes a part of their daily routine, it will be a part of their habit. It will be a part of their growing up process. And hence, their own habits change, their own mindset changes. It just and leads to, the child growing up more conscious. Yes, if anybody has any questions or want to share your own experiences, I would love to hear from you. And any questions, I would love to, discuss it with you and answer. Yes, Shalini, I can see your hand.
Good evening, ma'am, once again. Ma'am, I just asked one question regarding the background.
Yes.
So if you can just please tell us, it is actually very interesting, the background that I see, and I am just getting very curious to know about it.
Sure, Shalini. So the reason why we created this entire background was to again showcase to children that two things. One, we don't have to buy everything from market, because we also discourage children from buying everything that we need. The question should be, can I make it myself and make it in a way that it doesn't harm nature? So this entire painting that you see is made using natural colors. There is not even one color which we bought from outside. You see the red in the carrot. There is a carrot here. What do you think the red color is made of? Where did we get this red color? Take a guess. It's not beetroot. Take another guess. Geru is a good guess, but we did not buy Geru. There is a very, very important point here. Can't we replace textbooks at primary level with local knowledge where children engage meaningfully with better society? Yes. So after this, let's come to this point, which is very, very important. So here, everything. So the objective was again to show children the life under the soil and use all natural colors. So the red has come from crushing an old brick and mixing water in. And the brown that you see is actually soil. It's nothing else. There is no Fevicol mixed in it. It's nothing. It's only soil. Wet soil mixed with water, which has been put here. And white is rice powder. And then there is green, which is made using spinach. There was an overgrown spinach plant, which was crushed and used. And pink is brick and rice powder mixed together. So again, this entire experience was created and this was made by children. If you also see, there is one hanging on the wall here. We had an event in December, which is called Roots, where all our teachers and principals come together. And it's a sustainable event. And we wanted to create a piece. So we used all the roots which were there or twigs. We combined them and created this piece where everybody's name is. Again, the theme was, how can we be more sustainable? We don't buy, we reuse everything that is there in nature.
We had one more question on what are some seeds that can be sown for microgreens. We saw fenugreek and mustard. Anything else?
You can grow radish. You can use coriander. Things that are very easily available at home is moong dal, some of the, dals that we eat, seeds of those can be whole dal can be used to grow microgreens. Moong dal is one very, very simple thing that can be used. Then coriander can be used very easily. Then if we have, I can actually share a list of, if we have wheat at home, that can be used. If we eat millet, that can also be used. There are multiple seeds which are there in at our home which can be, during COVID, when everything was shut, we wanted to take our on-ground experience and convert it into online hands-on experience for our children and do online classes. This is how, through microgreens, we were able to give that experience to children because everything was readily available at home for them. Okay.
If anyone has any more questions, please come off mute and ask Pragati.
Okay. Any other thoughts that you would like to share? Questions that you have? All right, doesn't look like there was one point that somebody made about replacing textbooks. For primary school, I also feel it should be more experiential. The more children experience it, it's the learning that they get is actually in-depth learning. They experience it, they feel it, and they take the learning with them wherever they go. There's another experience that somebody has shared. You collected plastic bags.
An example of recycling, beautifully put.
That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing, Surendra.
If there are not any more questions, then we'd like to take this moment to thank Pragati for joining us today, and thank you all so much for joining us in today's webinar and being such an amazing crowd. I hope the webinar was useful and you take back the learnings from the webinar. If anyone would like to share some last thoughts, or Pragati, if you would like to close the webinar out, you can please feel free to go ahead.
Absolutely. So just last thoughts, if all of you or any of you would like to, create nature-based learning experiences for your children and you need any help from me, do feel free to write, and we can connect one-on-one, and I can share this knowledge with you, because again the objective is each child should grow up experiencing nature and not disconnected with nature. So let's all try to create that experience for our children. And thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great experience for me also listening from all of you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Before dropping off, we request you to fill the feedback form on the Firki portal and access your certificate for attending the webinar today. We have so many thank you messages on the chat box for Pragati. We'll post the feedback form link again on the chat box. Please go ahead and fill it and you can get your certificate in the portal. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Good night. Take care.
Thank you.